Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. So excited to be back and excited for the guests that we have today. So, just to give you a little bit of a preview, today we're going to be talking about the 4 steps that you need to get your life in absolute balance. Absolutely, once you've watched this, your life will be fully in balance and there will be nothing left for you to do. I don't think so. But it's always good to get great tips and we can use those to make our lives better. So, for those of you who don't know me, hi, welcome to our show. I'm Dr. Davia Shepherd. And in addition to hosting this amazing show, which is for women in business, we're talking about all kinds of women in business. So, from women in small business to women in larger businesses to women who are in corporate leadership to women who might be in nonprofit, and even some of our members are retired. But what holds us together, what keeps us totally cohesive, is the fact that we absolutely believe this with no equivocation, that when we support each other, all women in business win. And when women in business are doing well, the entire community benefits. So I invite you, please come join our community. Just go to growsmarter.com/login. And there you'll be able to, for 100% free, be a part of our community. You'll be able to attend our monthly meetings, join our Facebook group, be a part of this movement of women changing the world. So thank you so much for watching and on with the show. Shannon is our special guest today, and Shannon wears many hats. So when I first was introduced to Shannon, I was introduced to her as the CEO of a company called Encaptive. It's a company that hosted our summits in the virtual side back when we were in the pandemic and leading out of it, and really did an amazing job of supporting us and keeping us in front of our audience even when we were in lockdown. So thanks so much for that, Shannon. Shannon is also, by her own admission, a little bit of a communications nerd. So she has taught communications in Ivy League. She has been really at the forefront of helping us to communicate the things that we need to share. And she's also CEO of Speak Success, which is a company that helps us to do things like TED Talks, to deliver our messages, helps corporate clients to have their employees be better able to communicate what they need to share. And also, I want to share that she is the author of this amazing book, which ties so seamlessly with what we want to talk about here, which is living our optimal life. Her book is called Water Yourself, a practical guide to weed out the bad, get more good, and live your dreams. So Shannon's my dear friend, and I hope after this conversation, you'll feel like she's your dear friend too, because she is absolutely amazing and so genuine in her desire to support women in business. Shannon, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. And will you share with everybody a little bit about who you are in your own words and a little bit about the amazing stuff that you're doing in the world?
Yes, thank you so much, Davia. And you know that the feeling is mutual. I love you dearly. And we came together over a mutual friend and colleague who made a business introduction that went from business to friendship. And it's just been amazing getting to know you over the years and collaborating with you and really building this amazing friendship that we now have. And I don't even know where to start because you told a lot about me already, but I will just say I come from a corporate sales and marketing background. I started in corporate at a very young age of 19 and did that whole ladder climbing thing, making lots of money and bigger titles. And I just got more and more dissatisfied with my life. I was unhappy. I wasn't living my purpose. And so I left corporate and I started my own business and have not looked back ever since. And it has been a difficult road and it's not always easy being a woman in business either. So that's why I love supporting women in business. But now I like to say that I'm a fully recovered sales and marketing executive that helps people find their voice, hone their message, and really deliver it with confidence. And what all that really means is it comes from my background and my story and my why of why I do what I do, which is having grown up in corporate at such a young age and in highly regulated industries of insurance and finance and healthcare. I was very much trained into this box of the way that I need to speak and present myself. And when I came out of corporate, I was giving presentations as a way to build my business. I have a master's in communication. I taught public speaking and communication at the college level. And so I knew inherently how to give good presentations and what all the rules were. And people would come up to me after my presentations and say, wow, that's one of the best presentations I've ever seen. You're an amazing presenter. But it wasn't converting into anything. It was just, you're a great presenter, but I'm not doing business with you. And I finally just assessed it all and said, you know what is this disconnect here? And the disconnect was authenticity. It was me not being who I was. It was me being the corporate robot, I'll call it, of what I had been trained to be, how I'd been trained to speak, how I'd been trained to stand and move and dress. And I finally said, F it. What I'm doing isn't working. I'm goofy. I'm weird. I often talk too fast or with my hands too much, but I'm just going to be who I am. And once I started to let that guard down and be authentically myself, speak like myself, share my perspectives and views on things, not just the research and information there, open up and really share my story and who I am, that's when the magic started to happen. That's when I started to connect with people. And that's what led me to start Speak Success 10 years ago, was to help others like myself, whether you're still in a corporate environment or you're an entrepreneur, find your voice and be authentically who you are so you can make those deeper connections with people. And that's what then led to me developing in Captive and doing all the other things that I do. So it comes from that place. And I feel like that origin story is really the best way to describe who I am and what I do.
I love hearing that story every single time because it speaks to, I think, something that many of us as women in business really we do struggle a little bit with, and it's that piece of bringing ourselves in a way that is that other people can connect with us in a deep way. Have you had any instances when you've been working with the people that you work with where you've been able to see that show up really, really significantly, like where somebody went from maybe not doing as well in their business or in their ability to connect with folks, and then after working with you, seeing that improvement?
Yeah, I mean, it's a regular thing. It happens all the time. And that's really what brings me so much joy and purpose and passion. And what I do is watching that transformation unfold and just really seeing people step into their power and find their voice. I can't tell you how many people have said, oh my gosh, I feel so different now. I feel like I'm myself. I feel like I can be myself, or sharing these stories of accomplishment. I mean, I can give you several stories. One particular
Yeah,
story is
tell me a
about
story. Love stories.
one particular story. Now, this is more of a corporate client. A CEO of an international company came to me and had such high levels of anxiety in getting in front of people and speaking. He was even canceling Zoom meetings.
Wow.
And he is now traveling around the country, speaking to employees all over the place, and hopping on shows like this and being interviewed. And so that's a huge shift in his abilities and his ability to get out there and just speak in front of people. There's been other clients, like a woman that I'm working with right now. She just got promoted, and actually, she just got a new job earlier this year where she's going to be the general manager of a high-end hotel chain, luxury hotel chain. And she had so much anxiety around speaking, a huge lack of confidence in her speaking. And so she booked some time with me. We started working together. We started working on the confidence, how she's going to present herself. We've done everything from her introductions to figuring out her bio. And now we're working on how she's going to address the media with the PR that's coming along. And she said to me, she said, I can't believe it, but we did this a lot sooner than I thought we would. I'm 8 sessions in and I feel like a different person, right? And someone also said last week, a woman we were working with for Drop the Mic Night, I also do some collaborative work with my business bestie and partner in storytelling, Jen Lederer, who's a professional comedian. Shout out to Jen out there. And we put on a Drop the Mic Night event, which I'm happy to tell you more about. And one of the women that participated, as part of the participation, well, all of them gave us amazing feedback on how it boosted their confidence and made them feel better. But just a week ago, one of the women that participated said, I feel like you're really like therapists that are just helping us get out of our own way and just have the freedom and permission to be who we are. And that's everything, right? That is the shift that happens and just feels so different and just more me than I ever have. So those are the kind of stories that I love and those are all different types of folks. There's corporate in there, there's entrepreneurs in there, business owners in there. So
Yeah, it's beneficial for, I think, all of us as women and men in business. So there's no doubt about that. As somebody who works with folks in business on communicating better, what's like one thing you wish we all knew?
I mean, it comes back to the authenticity piece, right? Being yourself and sharing your perspective. A lot of people want to shove knowledge down people's throats. But in today's day and age of the internet, you could throw a stone and hit a webinar at any time of the day or night. You can Google something, you can find all kinds of free information out there nowadays. People are coming to you for your perspective on things. How are you interpreting that information? How are you sharing that information with them? What is your stance on that? And people connect with people. They want to hear your story. They want to know about you and who you are and what you stand for. And that is honestly the most important thing in communication, whether you're on a stage or in a one-on-one or in a boardroom having a meeting, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, if you can be yourself, share your perspective, and just own who you are and then communicate that authentically, it makes all the difference, no matter what aspect of business or life really that you're in.
Yeah, we like to that's amazing, and it's really something that I think folks knowing that is definitely going to be helpful for us. And I guess my next question is, how can we start implementing a solution? Do you have any tips for us? Any things that you think we should be either doing more of or avoiding in order to really be as authentic as possible with our communication?
Yeah, I'll start with the avoiding. Avoid trying to mimic others, right? That gets us in trouble. We see presenters that we love, people who have a fantastic style that are maybe influencers or celebrities out there, and we try to be like them. We try to imitate them. And that is the last thing you want to do, because there's no quicker way to throw up a wall and create a disconnect than to do that, because people can see through fake. They can see through imitation. So just be you. Now, in that process of being you, my tip is not to just go wild and crazy and be super goofy. Hey, you know what? Maybe that is the tip, right? It works for some people. If that's you, be you. But when I'm working with people, they say, okay, how should I use my hands? How should I stand? How should I move? Where should I look? And sure, there's all kinds of tips and tricks for gesturing and body language and vocal variety and all of that stuff. What I like to do with people and what I always recommend to people is get your baseline. If you're working with a coach, someone like myself, you'll present to me, I'll get your baseline, I'll figure out who is just you. And I like to do that through organic conversation and having you talk with me. And then this thing happens when people get on the stage where they all of a sudden a switch flips and it's like, I'm a different person. I'm going to talk like this, right? Just treat public speaking like having a conversation with a larger group of people, right? That's one tip. The second tip is with the not imitating is find who you are, find your style, and then you can polish it up, right? It's adding polish to who you are, not trying to be someone or something else or following the exact rules of how you should or shouldn't talk. And I use Hillary Clinton as an example of this, that she was the perfect speaker, right? She spoke in the right way, she stood in the right way, she dressed a certain way, she used all the hand gestures and had all the moments, but we weren't seeing who Hillary was, right? She didn't let her guard down enough to let us see who she was as a person. And she didn't inject that personal piece of her into her speaking. So when I'm saying don't try to mimic someone, don't try to be the perfect speaker, it's not about perfection. It's about authenticity and connection. And if you can figure out who you are, polish that up a little, right? Just be a better version of yourself with your gestures and stuff. And then share your authentic perspective and voice and not try to imitate others. And then treat every presentation just like a conversation. Don't flip a switch and feel like you have to be something you're not, or start acting differently all of a sudden because you're in front of a room or on a stage. Then you're already moving leaps and bounds ahead of others when it comes to public speaking.
Those are some really outstanding tips. I think that'll definitely give us something to take away. But I want to push you a little farther, Shannon. If you were to give us one piece of homework that would probably help move us forward in our public speaking journey, what would you tell us to do?
Oh, that's a tough one because for each person, it's a little different, right? It's some people need work on one thing, some people need work on another. For some, it's their content and figuring out what they're going to say and how they're going to say it. For others, it is their delivery. So I would say your piece of homework would be this. Take a presentation or something you have and just record 5 minutes of it. Get in front of your smartphone or your Zoom and stand up and deliver it out loud and record yourself and watch that back. And we are our own worst critics. So you're going to tear yourself apart more than anyone else will tear you apart. And look at that, watch that, and look for areas of improvement and really gut check yourself and say, am I just shoving information down people's throats? Am I speaking in a very monotone voice and being very very boring in my delivery and not adding anything? Am I telling stories? Right. So look at all of those aspects, watch yourself back and make some notes on areas that you personally want to improve. Pick one and start working on that one area first, because you're not going to be able to fix everything overnight. And if you bite off more than you can chew and not take baby steps towards progress and improvement, then you're going to get frustrated and you're never going to see the results that you want.
Yep. Biting off too much more than you can chew can lead to overwhelm and sometimes can head us in the wrong direction. So I
Yeah.
think that's really, really great advice. And I agree. We're all going to need different sorts of tweaks to our presentation skills that we all inherently have. I know folks tend to run away from microphones. I run towards them, but that's because I'm a weirdo. But it's different for all of us. And so tuning into what's right for you, that's perfect homework. I love it. So,
Mhm.
Shannon, what do you have going on right now? If folks wanted to connect with you or if they wanted to check out your offerings or things like that, what's going on?
Yeah, so we are gearing up for planning the next Drop the Mic night. If you are interested, if you're an aspiring speaker that is interested in getting out there, being in front of an audience in a mini TEDx type of style of talk, then subscribe to my newsletter and I'll let you know when that next open call for applications is coming. So we're working on that. That's one thing. And you can subscribe to my newsletter by going to my website, speaksuccess.com, and that's spelled SPEAC success.com. And then I'm also kicking off my next storytelling, narratives that connect and convert, practical storytelling course that starts September 11th. It's a 6-week course. We meet once a week for 90 minutes, and it's a small group coaching program led by myself and Jen. And we're only allowing 5 people into the program so that you get very hands-on feedback and experience to work on your storytelling skills. And then I'm always open and accepting people for one-on-ones or other types of opportunities. So if you want to get connected, or if you just want some regular tips and advice, subscribe to my newsletter or visit me on my website.
Beautiful. And of course, I want to put in a little shameless plug here for Ladies Power Lunch because, as y'all know, Shannon is one of my favorite business besties. And so, if you want to see Shannon, come on over, join us in our Ladies Power Lunch group. And all you have to do that is go to growsmarter.com/login. And you'll see just all the different things that you can do to connect with us. If you click on join our Facebook group, that's where we're all, including Shannon, having conversation every single day. So I want to take a minute to switch gears a little bit because in talking about Ladies Power Lunch, I want to mention that we just came back from Ladies Power Lunch Spring Retreat, our Live Your Optimal Life Retreat. So you might have heard the name of our show, Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life. We really, really believe that a lot of the times when women are focused on career, sometimes we leave that optimal life piece behind and we're not necessarily having to do that. There is an opportunity to include taking care of ourselves while we take care of our business. And so we have these Live Your Optimal Life retreats. Now it seems we're having them twice a year. And Shannon was on our most recent retreat. Don't worry, folks, you missed it. It was amazing. But coming up in the fall, October 21st, is going to be our fall retreat. We're going to the Bahamas. We're going on celebrity cruise lines, and that's going to be a fun thing. So if you want more information on that, just go growsmarternotharder.com/retreat, and you'll see all the information about that there. But I'd love to pick your brain a little bit, Shannon. And I want to say hi to everybody who's watching with us over on our Facebook group. I see you, Zeph. I see you, Hillary. Thank you so much for the likes and the hearts. That's really, really nice, everyone. And just drop a comment if you're watching along with us. If you are watching after the fact on our YouTube or our Facebook, or you're watching on our TV show, or if you're listening on our podcast, thanks so much. And just please do like, subscribe, follow, however you can let us know that you're watching along. Just please, please, please do that. It means the world with us. Anyway, you were on our last retreat, Shan, and I wanted to. There might be some people out there who might be on the fence about coming on retreat with us. Some of the people that I've spoken to recently have suggested a little bit of hesitation for coming on our retreats because we insist on having our retreats on a cruise ship. We love celebrity cruise lines. We love the premium cruise experience. We love being in the aqua class category. We love all those things. And so we want to bring that level of pampering to the folks who come to our retreats, because the people who come on retreat with us, they tend to be the healers, the leaders, the coaches, the teachers, the people who are supporting everybody else, the consultants, the ones who are doing everything for everybody else, who are helping everybody else to shine their light, and perhaps not so much taking care of themselves. So giving them this opportunity to be taken care of and to be pampered. So I'd love to ask you a little bit about your experience on Celebrity Cruise and just what it was like for you being on retreat with us. So we cruised out of when we go on Celebrity to the Bahamas, which is where this particular cruise went, the cruise generally goes out of Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. Did you get a chance to experience the cruise port beforehand?
Not really. I went to the cruise port at the time that I was supposed to board. And so I didn't spend a whole lot of time there, but I found the process to be super easy.
Mhm.
I went in the night before, I stayed at a hotel near the cruise port, and then I
Did you
took
enjoy Fort Lauderdale at all beforehand? Did you get a chance to? Fort Lauderdale can be tons of fun. Did you have a chance to take in any of that?
it can be. I did not. I had other obligations, so I didn't even get in until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
But being Florida born and raised, I've spent plenty of time in Fort Lauderdale, so I wasn't necessarily worried about spending time in Fort Lauderdale or at the cruise port. And so I went, I stayed. The hotel was really nice. It was close. It was easy. It was convenient. And I had an Uber drop me off the morning of. It was so easy. They drop you off right at the front. I got out with my baggage, with my luggage, and went over, and you go through security and check your luggage with the porters and everything. Actually, the luggage tags got printed out ahead of time. So you check that out before you even go, check that before you even go into the cruise terminal. And the terminal is massive. It's beautiful. They had where there were lines and waits to get on the ship. They had, which weren't long at all, maybe 5 minutes total. I waited.
Oh, wow.
And they had like a little water station and everything, and they were giving out, water with lemon and cucumber, and it was a really nice experience. And then you board, and there's all these people greeting you and welcoming you, and so it was really nice. And it's been a long time since I've been on a cruise, so just walking onto this massive cruise ship, it was a reminder of just how do we make this giant city float on the water, like a marvel of engineering, right? And so it was really just an easy experience. It was probably from the time I was dropped off at the cruise terminal till the time I was on the boat and checking things out, 15, 20 minutes.
That's awesome because the CEO of Celebrity, I had the opportunity to be part of one of his press things that he had recently, and he said that their intention is to get you from the dockside onto the boat in 15 minutes or less. And he said if you can run, you can probably make it in under 15 minutes. So I think that's great that you had that experience. Did you get a chance to go to your room right away?
I did actually.
How was your room?
They said my room wouldn't be available right away, but I went and it was. And the keys were right there on the outside. So I grabbed them. They have your names printed on them and everything. And the room was beautiful. It was big. There were two beds in there that ended up being pushed together to make one big bed for me. There was a closet, there was a decent sized bathroom, there was a little mini bar kind of area and a countertop and a desk where I could work and have my computer. And my favorite part, oh, there was a couch too, so a little living room area. My favorite part was this big balcony that I could
Oh,
just go
yes.
out on. In the mornings, I'd wake up, I went out there. One morning, I exercised out on my balcony. There were yoga mats in the room for us to use. And so I just
Mhm,
moved
mhm.
the chairs over and threw the exercise mat down and did some exercise while taking in the fresh ocean air. So the room was really beautiful. My room happened to be literally when you come out of my door and walk across the hall, you walk directly into the spa entrance. So I was right there by the spa, which was amazing. I ended up actually not using the spa as much as I thought I would because there was just so
Mhm.
much to explore on the ship.
Did
I
you have a chance to experience the Persian garden at all?
I did. I went in there. They had these really cool like tile beds that you lie on that are
Mhm.
heated.
Yes.
Oh, that was actually, I sat there with, I think it was Hillary when we were first, was it Hillary or Mary? I think it was Mary. I sat there with Mary as the cruise ship was taking off. And or was it, I can't recall, but we sat there as the cruise ship was leaving, and there were floor to ceiling windows, and we're laying on these nice heated beds, and we're looking out and watching the cruise ship depart. It was amazing. They had these
So
really
we're
cool rain showers, and they
Yes, I love the
had
Persian
saunas.
Garden. It's my favorite of all, perhaps of all the things on the celebrity ship. So I definitely identify with that. I love that you had an opportunity to be on those child loungers during sail away because that's a perfect time. And we're going to Alaska in the spring, in May. And I am just thinking to myself, that's going to be exactly where I'm going to be at sail away, heading to Alaska on the heated Thai lounger. at Sail Away. That's where I'm going to be. So if you miss me, if you can't find me, come find me there. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about the dining, because one of the things that we try to make sure of is that folks have an opportunity to unplug and detox while they're away on retreat. And so in commissioning our rooms at the spa level, at the aqua class level, you also have access to this restaurant. It's a specialty restaurant called Blue, but it's all about healthy food and healthy food that's beautiful and delicious. Did you have an opportunity to experience any of that?
I ate at Blue for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Us ladies generally met up for breakfast and dinner every day. So
Hmm.
all the ladies on the retreat, we got together for breakfast and we communed and talked and supported one another and just really built relationships. And then we always met back there for dinner every evening. I mean, the food is incredible. It is delicious.
Hmm.
And it is really, you wouldn't know it's healthy food because it just tastes so good. And they had, like, I had a steak one night and I'm trying to remember, I can't even, all the duck or something. Like, I had so many different things, and they cycle the menu every day. So there's different things on the menu. The food is so delicious and it is healthy. So you don't feel like you're overindulging. The portion sizes are just right, what they should and need to
Hmm.
be, not overeating things. So it was really an amazing experience. I think one time I went to the buffet at lunchtime because I was over by the pool and I didn't want to leave. And let me tell you, Blue was where it was at. And another night, all of us ladies decided to try another restaurant. And we decided to upgrade and pay to go to that particular restaurant that evening and treat ourselves a little. And it had nothing on Blue. Blue was way better.
Blue is my favorite restaurant of all of them that are on the celebrity ships. I think my second favorite, but this is probably more when I'm with children, is Le Petit Chef, because it has
Mhm.
the little animation thing that they do, which I think is amazing. But yeah, I agree with you. Like Blue is amazing, outstanding restaurant. Love it, love it, love it. And what I'll say is I like the buffet in the afternoon. Sometimes they have like charcuterie and it's pretty
Yes,
extensive what they have. So
they do.
I like that at the buffet. But aside from that, if I'm on celebrity ship, I'm eating at Blue.
Yeah. There was also above the pool level, there was a little grill where you could get hot
Mhm.
dogs and hamburgers and French fries.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I went back there for French fries a couple times because their French fries are so good.
You heard it here first, folks. The French fries are good. I think Celebrity has a reputation, just generally, for their food being just a little bit better than what you would expect on, traditional idea of what cruise ship food is. So
Mhm.
I think that's one of the reasons why we choose that level of premium offerings when we're offering our retreats. Did you have a chance to check out any of the entertainment on board? One of the women I was talking to recently, inviting her to come on retreat, she was like, "Oh, I feel like after we're done doing all our programming things, I'd probably be bored." And I almost died laughing. What would you say to somebody like her?
Yeah, I would say it's worth it. I went to a couple of shows. I saw a comedian. I went to one of the shows where they sing and dance and have a whole thing there and did some of the mid-deck things. We went to me, Mary and Marie, we went to an 80s dance party night and had fun dancing. And I went to a game quiz show thing that was a lot of fun. I mean, I did with Hillary one night, we went to this upper deck later night party and danced, and they had all this organized dancing. And we also did a daytime dancing thing by the pool deck. We also did one of the things that was a lot of fun that we did a couple of times. And it was really cool because I actually ran into some of my best friends from college and their families on the cruise ship, which we had no idea we were both going on the same cruise. So I had like a double win for being on retreat and meeting these amazing women and also seeing some friends. But we all met up one night and did a quiz night where they have like trivia and stuff and give out prizes. And that was a lot of fun. There's just so many things to do all the time on the boat. There's shopping and just so many fun things that you may think you're going to be too tired for this, but you get energized. There's something about being on this boat and walking around and meeting these amazing women that you're on retreat with that just kind of gives you that spark you need. And it doesn't make you feel tired. It makes you feel more ready to go because you're just making that time for yourself. You're watering yourself.
You're watering yourself. Yeah. When y'all went to the Bahamas, to the Royal Caribbean's private island,
Okay.
Coco Cay,
Yeah.
how was that?
Oh my goodness. Well, Davia had booked a cabana for all of us for the day. And so we had a private cabana right on the beach, walk right into the water, beautiful crystal clear water. The cabana was completely covered. It had fans. It had a safe where we could lock our stuff in it. And we had someone dedicated to bringing us food and drink and whatever we wanted throughout the day. And it was just such a nice thing because you could go sit under the covered area with the fan if you got too hot. There was also a deck that shot out that was in the sun that you could sit on, and there were chairs and everything. They stocked it with ice cold water for us and kept us hydrated all day. And then I tried to rent snorkeling gear, but I waited too long. I didn't book in advance. So
Mhm.
I ended up buying snorkeling gear on the island. Hot tip for anybody that's going, it was the same exact price to buy snorkeling gear as it was to rent it. The difference being if you're buying it, it doesn't come with flippers, but I didn't find that I needed it. It was so buoyant there. And I just swam around and snorkeled, hung out with the ladies. We chatted and had a great time. There's a giant buffet on the island too, and swimming pools. And I didn't make my way over to the water park section, but there's a million things to do when you're there. It was an amazing day.
Yeah, I think Coco Cay is one of my favorite islands in the Bahamas because there's just so much to do there. Everybody's saddest day on retreat is the day that we come back, but we have to come back, right? Because we've gotten so much on retreat and we have to come back and shine our light and be the beacon and ignite our leadership and live our optimal lives. So, how was your debarkation process, the process of getting off the ship? Was it smooth? Was it okay? Was it
Yeah.
hiccupy?
Yeah, walked right off. Done. I mean,
Done. The
the,
end.
the elevators do get a little clogged, so be aware
Mhm.
of that and be prepared to wait because everybody's trying to get off. They have you come off in waves if you leave your luggage outside your room the previous morning, but you can really, if you keep your luggage on you, which I chose to do, you can really leave and go anytime you want. Now, they do make sure when they say, you're off by 8 or 8:30 a.m., that ship is empty by that point in time. So you're getting up early and you're getting off. And I had booked my flight for 4 p.m., not sure
Mhm.
how long it would take to get off and all of that. And unfortunately, I couldn't switch to an earlier flight. So I was waiting around the airport for most of the day. But
Same. Yeah.
fortunately, I had two of the ladies that were on retreat with me at the airport. So we hung out together. We had extra time together. It was really nice to be able to kind of extend the retreat a little bit and spend that extra time with them.
Absolutely. I love that. So, for somebody who might be on the fence, Shannon, about going on retreat with us coming in the fall, what would you have to say to them?
Go.
That's it. Roll
Go find
credits.
yourself. It's not only fun, but it's enriching.
Mhm.
It is you're going to make new relationships and new friendships in a way that you can't in a more traditional type of networking setting. And the ease of just being on the cruise and not having to worry about anything is so nice. I mean, unless you're buying extras, everything is just included for you, especially with the package we got on retreat, where we had access to the Persian Garden and Blue Restaurant and all of that. It really just does feel like you're spoiling yourself for a week. And at the same time, being able to do this thing where you're investing in yourself and your relationships and building new relationships. So it's an experience I'm so glad that I took the leap and did.
Thank you for sharing that. And for our retreats, our focus with Live Your Optimal Life is always going to be inviting everybody to focus in on their life balance, focus in on their compassionate boundaries, focus on making their lives more beautiful, and of course, focus on making their future more brilliant. And so those are the four pieces that we focused on retreat. And we teased the show and said that we're going to talk about what's holding you back from being more brilliant in life. And basically, it's the four steps that help you to be more in balance in life. So I just want to share those four steps. If you want to come on retreat with us and we can dive more deeply into this, that's fine. But if not, take this and run with it. Because what we know for sure, and I know Shannon will absolutely agree with me, is that when you're focused in on making sure that your life balance is in place, and when we talk about balance, we're talking about not just, I think a lot of people, when they hear me say life balance, they think, okay, she's talking about self care. Yeah, we need to go get manicures and pedicures and massages and all of these things. And yes, definitely go do those things. But when we talk about life balance, I'm talking about your relationship of you with yourself, my relationship of me with myself. And so the four pieces of that, I think, and Shannon, weigh in, because as the author of Water Yourself, I'm sure you'll have some unique perspective. But the first piece of that is self love. How does that hit you?
Absolutely. I mean, that translates in all aspects of your life. We were talking about public speaking earlier. You have to love who you are at your core and what you stand for and accept yourself to be
Mhm.
able to be successful in anything, whether it's your relationships in life, and those can be personal relationships, they can be business relationships, whether it's public speaking or communication. Loving yourself is at the core of absolutely anything, because if you don't love yourself first, it's going to be very hard for other people to love you. And if you don't accept who you are and embrace who you are, then it's going to be impossible for others to know you. So that is definitely a core tenet for anything in life that you're experiencing.
And I think it comes back to what you were talking about earlier about that being able to be authentic. If you're not loving who you are, then uh, you're probably going to put on a different face
Yeah.
to be what you think would be more acceptable to others. When we talk about self-love, we're talking about focusing in on self-esteem, worthiness, self-appreciation, just recognizing, accepting, and forgiving yourself. Those are some of the things that we really focus on when we're on retreat, when we talk about self-love. The next piece is the self-care piece, which I think is what people think about when they think of life balance. And you talk a lot about that in your book, Water Yourself, about that focusing on that health and wellness, your nurturing, your personal care, that sort of thing. Say a little bit more, Shannon, about when it comes to self-care, what we should be really paying attention to.
Yeah, I'll start by just explaining what it means to water yourself.
Mhm.
This idea of watering yourself came from, if you think about a plant, if you don't water that plant, it starts to wilt and wither, and eventually it will die because it needs water to survive and thrive.
Mhm.
We are no different. We need to water ourselves. We need to invest in ourselves through various aspects of self-care. And like Divya just said, that's not just getting the mani and pedi and getting your hair done and going to the spa. Those are all aspects of it, but it's also investing in yourself, making time for yourself. If there's that certification you've been wanting to get, if you've been wanting to learn a new language, if there's a movie you've been dying to see and you haven't made time for it, that book you want to read, if it's getting time at the gym and investing in your health or eating better, eating differently, all of those are forms of watering yourself. Now, the difference between us and a plant is that we can start to see when a plant needs water, right? It starts to wilt and droop a little bit. Unfortunately, we often don't recognize that we need to water ourselves until it's too late. And it's showing up in the forms of overwhelm, anxiety, depression, disease, and so many other things. And so it's important to proactively water yourself. And that's where the watering system comes in of get a plant. That is going to be your plant, that every time you water that plant, that is your reminder that you need water too. So you need to go water yourself. And this is just a core tenet of my life. And ever since writing the book, I use it to regularly remind myself when I get off track with watering myself that Shannon, you got to follow your own advice. And it's not a one and done thing. It's an ongoing way of life that you have to adopt for that self-care piece to really thrive.
It's not one and done. And I feel like this is the reason that we keep having retreats and we keep going on retreat and we keep talking about this because it's you never get it done. There's always another level that you can uncover and you can be better and do more. So I love that you said that. The third step in getting to a place where your relationship with yourself is more solid, where you're really closer to that ideal of life balance, in my opinion, is self-discovery. We spend so much time living up to everybody else's ideals. And do we know who we are? Do we know what we like, what we want, what's fun for us? Do we know what our values are? Like, how well do we really know ourselves? We might even know others better than we know ourselves. I really invite us when we're on retreat to dive a little more deeply into that idea of discovering what it is. Because how are you going to be authentic if you don't even know who you are
Yep.
really and truly? And then that last piece is self-actualization. So many of us have things that we woulda, shoulda, coulda, or things that we look at as our potential. Part of self-actualization is appreciating how far we've come, looking back and really giving ourselves a little pat on the shoulder, and also looking at the things that we want to achieve and really being able to set goals for that and know that they're things that we want, going back to that self-discovery, and not just things that have been thrown at us by life or thrown at us by the people that we respect and want to please. So those are our four pieces: self-love, self-care, self-love, self-discovery, and self-actualization. Those are our four steps to achieving beautiful, beautiful life balance. And I invite you to come on retreat with us, and we're going to dive more deeply into that come October 21st. And you can get more information about that at growsmarternotharder.com/retreat. So at the end of every show, I pull a card, and guess what, Shannon? We're at the end of the show. Can you believe it? I
Wow,
can't
time flies when
believe.
you're having fun. Does everybody see why I love this woman so much?
Oh my goodness. Love right back at you. So I mentioned to you at the beginning of the show when we were in back in the green room, I said to you, let me go ahead and pull a card now. And I actually did. And wouldn't you know, this is the card that came up. So it's the Creatrix, and I will post it in the Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. So if you're not yet a member of the Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group, just go to growsmarternotharder.com/login, and you'll see there all the different things that we offer, our networking meeting, our Facebook group, as well as many of the other free things that we have. And you'll be able to join us and come see the card and all the details. So it's from the Alana Fairchild Love Your Inner Goddess guidebook. And it says, your soul is a divine creative fire. She wants to break free from what has been and give life to something new. Hmm. I wonder what that means for me. I wonder what that means for you, Shannon. I wonder what that means for you watching. Yes, you. You may experience this as feelings of restlessness, of being confined, or as a craving for something more that you can't quite articulate. Your soul doesn't want you to push that new life away. She wants you to embrace it. When you let go of your inhibitions and freely express yourself, stagnant situations will be cleared out by the powerful release of your energy, which creates openness. Let your inner artist out to play in whatever way feels fun, raw, and honest for you. It's time for you to experience something new. Is this saying anything to you?
Well, I think the funny thing is you pulled the card before we started and you
Mhm.
didn't tell me what the card was. And then we had this whole conversation about being yourself, finding your authentic voice, unleashing your perspective, right? All of those things. And all of that resonates with this card that you pulled in the discussion that we've had and into our discussion about self-care and self-actualization and all of the things we just talked about in the second half of the show. And I think an important thing for people to also acknowledge is as humans, we aren't one and done either. We are constantly evolving. We are constantly growing. It's okay for our thoughts and perspectives and ideas to change and grow as we experience life, experience the world, experience new people and things. And it's we're constantly evolving and growing. And so as we're doing that, we need to be okay with pushing past that uncomfortableness and being okay with changing our minds and being different and moving forward into that new life and that new perspective that we're creating for ourselves. We can't just stay stagnant. And so I think that's part of our journey to our authentic selves as well, is constant self-discovery, constantly listening to that inner dialogue in your head and that person within you that's telling you or shouting and screaming to get out, like, this is what I think, this is what I feel, this is who I want to be, this is
Yeah,
who I deserve to be, right?
yeah.
And letting go of the imposter syndrome and that wanting to be like everybody else or imitate others. Just listen to that internal dialogue of who you are and who you want to be. Follow that.
I love that. I love that so much, Shannon. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I truly, truly appreciate it. Thanks for coming on retreat with us. Thanks for being one of our sponsors at Ladies Power Lunch. Thanks for being such a great friend to us. How can folks just remind us, how can folks connect with you aside from connecting with you inside our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group? How can they make your acquaintance?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Divya said, you can reach out to me through the Ladies Power Lunch group. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm Shannon Malkin Daniels. Malkin is the middle name. Daniels is pretty simple and straightforward. You can find me on my website, speaksuccess.com. That's SPEAC success.com. You can also email me at shannon@speaksuccess.com. I love meeting new people. I love having conversations. You can book a free 30 minutes with me right there on my website if you just want to chat. So connect with me in any of those ways. Looking forward to meeting you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being a part of our show today. Thank you, everybody, for watching along with us. I hope you'll join us for our Ladies Power Lunch Live Your Optimal Life Fall Retreat. We're going on October 21st to Bimini on Celebrity Cruise Lines. And for more information about that, just go to growsmarter.com/retreat. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And I'll see you all on the next show. Bye, everyone.
Bye.